Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. After we run you through the news you need to know about, we run you through the fan Q&A where we answer fans' questions. Really excited about this first piece of news. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. The Dolphins have signed wide receiver Antonio Callaway. Really like this player a lot. According to the news story, and I forgot about this, he still has to serve a three-game suspension of his original 10-game suspension from Roger Goodell. He still has to serve 3 of it. He's currently on the Miami Dolphins practice squad, so he will not see any game action anytime soon, even if we wanted him to, because he has to serve the 3-game suspension, not to mention he was just signed, so him getting acclimated to the system and stuff of that nature, I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know. I really like him as a player, though. I think he's really talented if it wasn't for the substance abuse issue, and he obviously got hurt his second year. When he was trying to play football in the XFL, the Browns cut him because of some off-the-field issues. He goes to the XFL, can't play there because of injury. Then he's just kind of been, I guess, lost in the wind. And now that the weed is pretty much legal, according to the new CBA, I think the Dolphins have way less of an issue on taking a chance on him. And I recommend anybody go to YouTube and look up Antonio Callaway. And there's a video on there that has every snap he's ever taken. I highly recommend anyone go watch that. He's a very talented player. Had some inconsistent hands his rookie year, but could really stretch the field, made some spectacular catches. He's a really good route runner, really good run after the catch receiver, and like I said, a very, very good deep threat. And I think he could add a lot of dynamic playmaking ability too. And I think not only can he add a lot of dynamic playmaking ability, I really do think he's a potential to be a perennial 1,000-yard receiver. I think he can be that type of a talent. And I think he's something that we desperately need in the middle of the field. I think he's really good at running routes in the middle of the field. He can start on the outside. I think he can do a lot of different things, but I think he would fit perfectly in that slot position and give us a lot of explosion. If you want to put him on the outside or inside, he's really good at catching screens as well, running after any kind of stuff, running after the catch, sweeps, any of that kind of stuff. You really just want to get the ball in his hands, and I really like him as a receiver, and I think he has a very bright future in the league. Really underrated, really underrated signing by the Dolphins, and I'm very excited to see where this takes us because I really like him as a player. Let's get into these next 2 pieces of news stories, which I'm kind of going to combine together so we can get to talk about the game because I really want to talk about this game. A lot of interesting stuff happened in that game, but very excited to talk about it. So let's get to this news story. In case you're wondering, this comes from Pro Football Rumors. Fitz will start Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. We know he had kind of an up and down game, more than kind of. It was a very down game. 3 interceptions on the day. He's still going to start. Brian Flores has named him the starter for the Sunday game against the Buffalo Bills. The other piece of news is Devontae Parker is questionable and he's day-to-day to play against the Buffalo Bills. He re-aggravated a hamstring injury against the New England Patriots. So, a little bit of, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's really all I have to say about that. So, let's get into this game. And this is obviously the first game of the season. It's a divisional game. It's a rematch of last year in Gillette Stadium. I want to talk about going into this game, and then we're going to get to the meat of the game. So, going into this game, I thought it was a good matchup. I thought it was going to be a defensive slugfest before going, because we all know that New England, and they still do have a very good secondary. I didn't think this was going to be a high-scoring game. I didn't think the Dolphins were going to move the ball consistently in Gillette against a good secondary that is coached by Bill Belichick. But I definitely expected a little bit more, and we're going to get into that into the game. But that was a little bit disappointing. I felt like overall offensively, I still felt like it was disappointing, even though I wasn't expecting that much out of it. And we'll get into why. So that was kind of a letdown. And then the defensive side of the football, I actually thought was really nice. Just to give you an overall feeling of both sides of the ball before we get into the meat and potatoes. On offense, I was a little disappointed. Like I said, I didn't expect it to be a high-scoring game, but there's some things that I wish we would have changed, and we'll get into that. And defensively, I thought we played well despite us giving up 200 rushing yards. I liked what I saw from the defense, and a few of the new pieces that are on that defense I felt like shined, and some returning guys, like some rookies, going into their second season, I thought looked really nice as well. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this game. So let's start with the box score. Dolphins ended up losing by 10. It could have been worse if it wasn't for a strip fumble, and it could have been a whole lot better if we could have executed in the fourth quarter because it was only a 3-point game. And we had a really, really good shot at winning the game at the end, and we couldn't pull it out. So let's start. Let's start with the defense. Cam Newton finished 15 for 19 with 155 yards. He was the New England Patriots' leading rusher with 75 yards. The second closest was Sony Michel with 10 carries for 37. The leading receiver on the day for the Patriots was 57 yards. So when I read you that stat line, and by the way, the second to Edelman was N'Keal Harry, who had 5 catches for 39 yards. So when I read you that stat line, it doesn't seem like, first of all, it was a team effort by New England. It wasn't really dominant, I would say. Although the run game, it was like, the best way I can describe it, it was like a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It really was. I think some of the things that New England did on offense was, obviously the Dolphins haven't seen that before. They couldn't really, and a lot of the stuff was stuff I've never really seen before. I thought it was very creative, obviously. They barely passed the football. Literally all of their plays in the passing game were off of play action or under center. A lot of them were screens and swing passes and right after the catch stuff. Like I said, a lot of it was off the run game. And again, in some of the big plays they made in that fourth quarter to seal it and win the game were running plays. The 3rd and 6, where they were in the red zone, and Cam Newton, obviously they call it quarterback power there. It becomes a 4th and inches. They end up picking up with another quarterback power. They literally ran on 3rd and 6. Excuse me. So you can kind of give an idea of what they thought their strengths were in this game. So I feel like this defense played well with the offense doing terribly because they were on the field way too long. If you look at the time of possession, it was very lopsided, especially in the second half. So the offense didn't give them any favors. And the play calling for the Patriots was death by 1,000 paper cuts. I mean, everything was a run. They were worn out in the fourth quarter. And it is what it is. I mean, even though they still had a shot to, get off the field there on 3rd and 6, like I said, for the dub and for everything, for all the marbles in that game, because we would have had a shot to win the game again, kind of like last year where a touchdown wins it. We couldn't get off the field on a run. It kind of really was kind of how the day went in general, was just a lot of running the football, and that's what really won New England the game. So, like I said, I think I had a lot more to do with the circumstances of the game. Like I said, a lot of new looks on offense. Really couldn't prepare for some of that stuff. What New England did on offense was very creative. Some of the things that really, anytime they went empty, they would start with someone tight in the formation, and then they would motion them out. And then since we were playing man coverage, someone would have to follow him. That would lighten the box. Plus, you have one more extra blocker on some of those quarterback runs, and it just made it super hard. And they consistently did that, and it gave us a lot of trouble when they did that. It was very smart by them. I mean, they did it a lot, and sometimes they would even motion and then snap and throw to that guy on a screen or a swing pass. And a lot of times when that worked, we played zone so we could keep more eyes on Cam Newton, and they just killed us anytime we played zone. So it was just a really good play calling. It was really New England had a really good day of play calling, preparation, and what else is new in New England, and really just giving us a bunch of new looks. And I think that's what really killed us today. I feel like if we played them again, knowing what we know now, I think the game plan would be better. I think the preparation would be much better, and I think the defense would be way more prepared. I just felt like New England did what New England usually does, and they found a way to utilize what they have within their personnel. And if they didn't have Cam Newton and let's say Jarrett Stidham starts this game, there's no way they win this game. Like I said, I feel like, especially in the passing game, we match up with them really, really well. And, just hats off to New England. We still didn't give up a 100-yard rusher, but as a team, they really beat us. They had over 200 yards rushing as a team. And like I said, they did a lot of motioning. the thing, like I said, where they would go empty, they would start someone in tight and motion them out wide to lighten the box so Cam Newton would have numbers. It was just a lot of really creative stuff, and I'm not necessarily mad. And, I saw Omar Kelly and some other people said, the Dolphins did a really bad setting the edge. A lot of that stuff was creative play. I mean, it wasn't like they were just running to the edge. A lot of it was off of motions, and a lot of it was confusion. A lot of their big runs was off of read option as well. I felt like that's probably one area that I would have liked to have seen better preparation for, maybe better personnel groupings for that particular play, because anytime they really ran read option, it worked a little too well, where Cam really took advantage of that, and maybe we could have mixed in a little bit more. I don't know. I just felt like we weren't as prepared for some of that stuff. But for the most part, I really like what I saw from the defense. I thought the secondary played pretty well. Brandon Jones had a good game for a rookie. Christian Wilkins balled out. I thought Jerome Baker played very well. I thought the D-line looked good for the most part. I think the front seven looks really good. I think the secondary, I thought Bobby McCain had his moments. I thought he looked pretty good in his second year in this defense, actually, which is... and they didn't get a lot of opportunities to win this game. I mean, New England really didn't want to pass the football in this game, and it worked. I mean, like I said, a 3rd and 6 in the red zone, and in today's NFL, you're in a quarterback power, and that wins you the game. I mean, hats off to them. I mean, listen, we weren't prepared. They threw a lot of new stuff at us, and despite all of that, we could have still won in the fourth quarter. And like I said, I think there was a lot of stuff to like on the defensive side of the football. And I think some of the edge stuff, like, we couldn't set the edge and some of that stuff, I think that's a little bit overblown. I think a lot of that had to do with just new looks on offense. There was a lot of motion. It wasn't traditional. It wasn't like they were just going to the edge and dominating. It was a lot of misdirection, a lot of craziness, and a lot of creativity on the New England Patriots' part, which I really felt like won them this game. I would say it was... Like I said, I'm very encouraged. I think this defense is going to be really good from what I saw on Sunday. I think if this was a more traditional attack, like a normal offense or, pick any other offense in the league, really. If they were running more traditional where Cam had to pass and, if it wasn't so creative, I feel like, this defense would have, I think we would have won this game. Or the defense would have looked better. I don't know if we would have won this game because of the offense. The offense was really bad. But the defense, I don't really know how to express it, but I really liked what I saw, and I think this defense is going to be really good moving forward. So if there's any positive to take away from this, and there is a lot of positives, even on the offense side of the football, but before we move on to the offense, I do want to say this. I think the defensive line has improved. I love the linebacker core. I think they did from some of the things that I saw, I think Christian Wilkins is way better in year 2. He looks amazing. What else? Brandon Jones looks pretty solid. Igbenogany was a little disappointing his rookie year, his first start, even though they didn't throw that much. So I'm not gonna overreact too much of that. We really didn't get to see enough Byron and X. X only played 43% of the snaps. Byron was out there the entire time and literally pretty much letting nothing up. And like I said, most of their big plays were off of play action and misdirection. And they really, everything that New England got in the passing game was off of action from Cam Newton. Everything. They did, I cannot stress this enough, they did a very good job of keeping our defense on their toes with stuff that we've never seen before and could not be prepared for. So, like I said, I don't think it was the defense as from a schematic standpoint or even a talent standpoint. I think the New England Patriots just did their job really well on Sunday on offense, in my opinion. There was no way B-Flow and the crew could be prepared for some of that stuff. And next time we play them, I think we can do a better job of coming up with a solid plan to deal with some of those formations and some of those sweeps and plays and misdirections. Next time we play them, I think we're going to be... I think it's going to be a completely different result. So let's get into the offensive side of the football. And again, I liked a lot what I saw on the defensive side of the football. I don't think we're going to have to worry about... I think this defense is going to be just fine in setting the edge, and I think this defense is going to be just fine in run defense. I promise you guys that. I don't think this is going to be I think what happened on Sunday is very unique to New England, and I don't think anybody else's running game, other than maybe the Baltimore Ravens, is as unique and creative as the one that we played on Sunday. I I think it's just going to be much different. And I think you guys can be confident that this defense is going to be very good. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but even the run defense, I think, is going to be very good from here on out. And I know that sounds crazy to say after 200 yards rushing, but like I said, that's just how I feel. I just feel like watching this defense, it's going to be very good. And I think we played it good as a unit as well. You can kind of see the chemistry with that defense. I just think good things are going to come from here on out with this defense. I'm very encouraged and very optimistic about this defense, despite some of the stuff. And like I said, they run the field way too long, especially for a heavy run attack like that. I think they would have played even better if the offense could have given them anything, really. So let's get into the offensive side of the football. Where do I even begin? It was a very underwhelming performance by the offense. I want to start here. I thought the personnel grouping... I want to start with these two things. I'm going to hit on these two things because I don't want to ramble and I don't want to get off track. Here's the two things I want to hit on that I thought were major eyesores in this game. I thought the personnel grouping was very interesting. I shouldn't say very interesting. I should say it was very odd for some of the play calling. And I thought that it was way, way, way too conservative in the first half. I thought it was very, very conservative, and I did not like it. I thought the Dolphins should have opened it up more and really put the ball in Fitz's hands and let the passing game really be the vocal point of the team, because I thought we could have at least built off of that. That's what won us the game last year in New England. And I just felt like it was way too conservative. We didn't spread the ball out enough, and when we did, it was on 3rd and long. Like, anytime we passed in the first half, it was on a 3rd and long every single dang time. The running attack was not working. So the first thing I wanted to hit on was, and I just hit on it, and I thought we were way too conservative in the first half, and anytime we did pass, it was on a 3rd and long situation. And this is the second thing I want to hit on, is personnel grouping. Jordan Howard had 8 carries for 7 yards, okay? He had 8 touches for 7 yards. Now, you might say, well, that's terrible, and you're right. That is not great when you look at it as a stat line. But if you actually watch the game, number one, Jordan Howard is a runner that gets better as the game goes on. If you're going to run power stuff, you should probably put Jordan Howard in on most of those runs. And I know he had 8 carries, but I feel like they should have kept him in those sets instead of Matt Breida and even Gaskin, who obviously had the better day out of anybody. But all of those runs were out of the shotgun. All of those runs that Gaskin had that were successful were out of the shotgun. They were not under center. So Jordan Howard should have been the go-to guy under center, in my opinion. Maybe they didn't want to tip their hat too much. Maybe they thought it was too big of a tell. But I thought that personnel grouping was, if you're going to run power plays, because that's something that the Dolphins and even some of the beat writers and some of the media around the Dolphins have said, is they're really going to try to have a power running game this year, then Jordan Howard should have been the bell cow, in my opinion. And I know it's going to say 8 yards on 7 yards on 8 carries, which is not good. They should have kept running the ball with him, in my opinion. It's just me. I just felt like if you're going to do that, if you're going to be super conservative, at least be consistent with it. And they really couldn't do that because the Patriots were clocking the heck out of them. So, again, I just feel like we were way too conservative, and some of those personnel groupings were a little bit of a head-scratcher. Let's get into Ryan Fitzpatrick. In this game, where special teams and defense was going to win the game for either team, the one thing we could not do is have Ryan Fitzpatrick throw 3 picks. It just could not happen, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? It happened. Especially, the one before half that everybody talks about. Honestly, that didn't hurt us. Because they ended up missing the field goal on that play. So I'm not really sure how, what we really lose on that. We don't really lose a ton. But it was the other two that really hurt. The first one, I could see that being a little bit of a kind of a fluke where Preston, I felt like, was definitely interfered with, and then he fell down coming out of his break. So I'm not going to say it was necessarily that bad. And the last one was just abysmal. He had Isaiah Ford for a touchdown, or at least a first down. He didn't see him and then throws it into double coverage to Mike Gesicki. And the thing that really kills me about that play is he could have easily just passed it to Isaiah Ford for a touchdown. I want to get in. It's not the 3 picks that I want to focus on, even though he couldn't turn the ball over as much as he did. And the first pick obviously was off points, and the second one really just sealed the day. The one before half I think is a little bit overblown because it really just didn't amount to anything. But I want to focus on just him reading a defense. Number one, he missed. I know for a fact he missed at least 2 reads. The touchdown where he threw a pick to Mike Gesicki, and he missed Jakeem Grant on a wheel route that was going to be a very big play, if not a touchdown, on that play. There was a 4th down. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was to Preston Williams, and it ended up being a pass interference. He had Isaiah Ford wide open for a first down, right in front of him, right across his face. He just kind of ran a little bit of a drag route, and he was literally wide open. And he throws a jump ball up to Preston Williams. I don't know what was going on with Fitz's eyeballs today, but if you go back and watch some of those plays, there were people he missed that were open. There's a lot of stuff being said about the Dolphins not being able to get enough separation. He missed a lot of stuff in that second half. And I shouldn't say a lot, but there was a lot of crucial plays that could have been that weren't because he missed them. And you don't want to see that from a veteran quarterback at all. And he just did a poor job of, in my opinion, reading the defense and making the right reads at times. Devontae Parker, on his short stint of the day, had 4 catches for 47 yards and 11 yards a catch. I thought he looked really good and unfortunately got hurt and could not continue that. And that was a huge blow to the team. Preston Williams looked really good as well. I felt like a lot of this, if we could have just started the game a little bit more conservative, we should have just let our hair down in that first half and just went for it, and we didn't. We played way too close to the vest. We thought we could get in a phone booth fight with this team, and we ended up losing it because we turned the ball over more than the other team. And we lost the phone booth fight. We lost the Slobberknocker. We're going to crap and hit each other 50,000. I mean, this was a defensive battle, and we lost, okay? We should have went for it. Clearly, the game plan was, let's run the ball, let's play defense, let's try to get out of here on a 17-14 game. It didn't work. We shouldn't have tried to do that. We should have been more aggressive, in my opinion, in that first half, and I think the results would have been different. And I think that fits more. He's not a game manager type of guy. He's not Alex Smith. I think you have to spread the ball out and let him go win the game, or just, if he has to throw 15 times, I feel like he's at least 2. I mean, it's just not going to... I just don't feel like that fits what he does well, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think the scheme or the personnel, like the players, are bad. I think we really were way too conservative in that first half. And like you could tell, like if you go back and watch that first half, we really were trying to win this game on defense and special teams, in my opinion. And we were played way too close to the vest, and I think that ended up costing us, in my opinion. I liked what we saw from the defense. If we had better preparation and saw some of those things that New England did on film, I think we would have done a much better job than we did. And like I said, there's a lot of bright spots. I want to get into the bright spot of this offense because I'm very excited to talk about this. The offensive line is 1,000 times better than it was a year ago. It looked amazing. Austin Jackson looked amazing. I thought Eric Flowers and the rest of the O-line looked really nice as well, especially in the passing game. Now, the running game was a little underwhelming. I thought New England did a really good job of again, just especially early on, establishing the line of scrimmage. But I thought our offensive line in general played very well, especially in pass protection. I mean, they looked immaculate. Austin Jackson, man, if he can continue that all year, what a steal by the Dolphins, dude. He looked better than Laramie Tunsil did, especially his first few snaps at tackle. I mean, that's a better first game than Laramie ever had as an offensive lineman, and I really am proud to come out of this game thinking, you know what, this is the first game in a long time where I could say the offensive line from the first quarter to the fourth had a really good game in pass protection, like a dominant game, like a very, very dominant game. And I think that's huge for this team. And if Tua ever does start, he's going to have a really good offensive line to play behind. So overall, I think there's a lot of things to be excited about going forward, I think this team, I'm very happy with some of the things that I saw from this team. I think this team is still a good team. I think it's going to be a really good team, especially in the future. And I think we're going to have a good team this year. I think the defense is going to be very good. I think the offensive line is much improved. And if we could just find our identity, and I think, again, I think we got it. I think our identity is the passing game this year again. I really do. I think we have to open it up. I think we have to spread it out and be a little bit more aggressive on offense, and I think we will have better results on the scoreboard. I just think we were playing way too close to the vest, and I can totally understand what Brian was thinking. Like I said, just play defense. It's going to be a low-scoring game. They have a really good defense in New England. It's Bill Belichick. It's a good secondary. Let's try to win with defensive special teams and not try to kill ourselves. And we ended up killing ourselves, and I think being less aggressive really cost us. And we got to spread the ball out, man. We got to spread the ball out. I think Jakeem Grant had his moments, especially in the slot as well. I think we need to do more sweeps, speed sweeps with Breida and Grant, maybe some motions in the backfield. I think we have to utilize their speed more as an offense. I think that's something that I want to see more of as well. But again, I think we just played way too close to the vest in the first half, and it just killed us. We should have spread the ball out and, like I said, play balls to the wall and try to win this game, and we didn't. We tried to play it close to the vest and conservative, and it ended up costing us. And I thought on defense, like I said, hats off to New England. That's some crazy stuff you guys pulled out in that game. Some stuff that there's no way our team would have been able to prepare for. I think even like the thing, like I said, starting someone, especially since he knows we play a lot of man, and literally I think last year we played 95% man. Just to start someone in close in like a tight flex position and then motion them out in an empty formation to lighten the box and give Cam Newton an easier running lane. Like that stuff is just like just next level stuff. It really is. And I think when we can prepare for stuff like that on film, I think the defense would have been just better. And they definitely didn't want to pass on us for good reason because they weren't going to pick up anything. If that team had to play from behind, it was going to be an easy win. I think what we saw from New England on Sunday, and a lot of people are like, did you see the crazy Tim Tebow offense? If they have to play from behind at any point, they're going to play through their defense and run the football. And we already knew that they were going to do that. But they really cannot pass. If they have to get in a shotgun 2-minute drill where it is just strictly passing, that team's going to fall apart. That is the weakness of that team. And it's very bad. All of their big plays on passing plays were off of play action, whether that be like in the shotgun, you give a little read option type of look. You pull it out of the running back's belly, and it's like a RPO. We're throwing the swing pass, or I'm under center, a quick little pop pass over the middle to Julian Edelman. Those were the biggest plays in the pass game for the New England Patriots. Even the play where N'Keal Harry got stripped was off of play action. They got a little flat route on Jerome Baker. He pulled up way too far in, and again, I thought Jerome had a good game as well. I thought he played really well, but it was again, I think, a very frustrating day on offense. But I'm very encouraged, dude. I know that people might be surprised. I don't know. I'm excited to see what you guys think. I like what I saw from the team. I think these are just easy, like, philosophy, especially on offense. I feel like if we just open it up a little bit more, we're not New England, okay? We're not. I don't know what another team is to compare us to. We can't be a 3 yards in a cloud of dust team. We have to spread it out and be a little bit more aggressive. I think that's the identity of this team, and that was the identity of it last year, and that's what we got the most success out of the offense. And I think we should have done that from the get-go in New England. Played like we had nothing to lose, and we didn't do that. We played way too conservative. So I know I've said that 1,000 times. We're going to get off of it, and let's get into the fan Q&A where we answer fans' questions. Hopefully that was a little bit coherent. And you guys could understand what I'm saying and my points. But again, I'm excited. I think this team has got a really... And I'm excited about this year. I'm excited to keep watching this team. I think it's going to be a very, very good team for the rest of the way. I liked what I saw on Sunday. And especially for some of the younger players going into year 2. And I think just a tweak of identity with this team. Just a tweak. And I think the offense is going to be better. All right, let's get into the fan Q&A where we answer fans' questions. This first question comes from Julian. He says Christian Wilkins is playing on God mode. He had a very, very good game, dude. A very good game in the running game and passing game. I'm very excited about this defense. When we don't have to play some crazy, like, we just came up with this on the fly offense that, there's no way we could have prepared for. And we can really kind of watch film and really kind of lock down on what people want to do. I'm really excited about this defense and what they can do. I think we're going to be like a very good defense the rest of the way. Offensively, like I said, I think it's just a little bit of a tweak of identity and we'll be okay. But yeah, Christian Wilkins played very well. To answer your question, Julian, he looked amazing. And I'm very excited about him. And if we can get that out of him for 16 games, dude, our defense, the sky is the limit. This next question comes from Take Me Out. Take Me Out. He says, I've been a big Myles Gaskin fan from the moment we drafted him. I think he has a bright future ahead. What are your thoughts? I really like him in shotgun, like the Patrick Laird role. I think he can fill that role perfectly in the shotgun, in the passing game. I think if we want to be an under center, like blunt, bludgeoning team, I think Jordan Howard has to start, in my opinion. I don't think that's what this team is. I think this team is a pass-first team. I think this team is a spread-out team. And I think Gaskins fits that the best. Him and Breida fit that perfectly. So to answer your question, Take Me Out. I think he does have a bright future. And if we're a little bit more aggressive, and I hope Brian sees that on film. I hope he sees that. I hope we don't do that against the Bills. I hope we spread it out and are a little bit more aggressive and put an emphasis on the passing game next week because I think I think that's just what this offense should be for sure. I think it's the identity of this team. And again, if you throw Myles in, I think Myles fits in with that perfectly. And I do think he has a bright future to answer your question. Take Me Out. This next question comes from Julian. He says, the rest of the offense played great. Why didn't we put in Tua in the second half? I think we really, like I said, it was a really just 3 yards in a cloud of dust for both teams. And one team was doing it better than the other team. And I think that's not us. That's not our identity. And I think we need to change that. And I think you're going to see better results because of it, in my opinion. And again, people point out the fact that, hey, I didn't see a lot of separation on the field. First of all, like I said, in the second half especially, I think there was separation. I think Fitz missed it, and not to mention in the first half, especially in the first half, we were in a lot of third and long, terrible situations, like really bad situations. 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10s, way too often because we couldn't get the run game going, and I just think it was just a bad spot to be in against the Bill Belichick secondary. That's pretty good, and a Bill Belichick defense. This next question comes from Take Me Out. He says, I understand this was the first game, but every year seems to be a replay of the previous. At what point does it ever get better? Well, I disagree with that. I really disagree with that. The Dolphins could have won in the fourth quarter in Gillette Stadium for the second year in a row. I thought the defense looked good. I think the offense needs a tweak of identity. And I think it's an easy fix. I don't think it's something that we're going to have to wait a year for. So I disagree. I think you just kind of got to look past what and I know this sounds crazy, the fact that we lost, and kind of look at some of the things that we did do well, and some of the things that we can change. And I think this team's going to really be much better than it was a year ago, and I think it's going to be a very good, I don't want to say very good because that sounds like we're going to win, I think this team could win the division. And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know. I just have this feeling about this team. I really like this team, and I like the coaching staff. This next question comes from Take Me Out. He says, O-line looked much improved. This is a positive that I want to take away from this game. And again, Take Me Out. If we can just change the philosophy, just go back to what it was last year, and especially since the old offensive line is this much improved, then what is holding us back from doing that? We have a good offensive line. We have good skill position players. We need to be more aggressive, and I think that it'll change our fortune. And you're absolutely right. And again, Take Me Out. If there's anything, especially the last 4 years, that we can take away from that game, is the line of scrimmage is significantly better than it was, especially the last 2 years. So I'm excited about that. This next question comes from Lewis. He says, what's up, Skaggs? Great to watch Dolphins football again. I know it feels great. One positive in this loss, Gilmore can't cover Preston. Should we have put in Tua at half? do you think we have the upper hand over the Bills next week? I think if we try to run the ball like we did this week, I don't know if that's going to end well because they have a big front in Buffalo. I think we got to be aggressive and go after it. But I really do. I think that's the identity of this team. I think we have to be a pass-first team, and then the run comes off of that. I don't think we're a run-first team. This is a great way to watch. What was the question? Should we have put 2 in? No, I don't think so. I think, especially since we were so conservative in that first half, I think we were like, all right, let's see what Fitz can do. And it just, I mean, we had a shot. We could have won. And it just didn't shake out our way. And the whole thing that like, oh well, the Dolphins should have been in that situation because of this. Dude, we stripped him. That was a great defensive play. We earned it. Like, it was a great play by Jerome, great effort play. It's not like we didn't earn that fumble. I want to put that out there too. This next question comes from Jack Pack. He says all those picks and money spent on defense and they still can't stop Edelman or Cam. Pathetic. I disagree with that. I think you gotta tip your hat to what New England was able to accomplish with so little. And everything that Edelman had, he had a sweep, and everything was off play action because we were so worried about stopping the run. It's not that the Dolphins, I just feel like New England, they schemed the heck out of us. I don't think it had anything to do with the personnel, for sure. This is the best defense I've seen as a collective unit. Definitely better than anything I've seen from the Adam Gase era, and I think even in the Joe Philbin era for sure. I really like the direction this defense is going in. Chris Sims said something interesting. He does film breakdowns, and great show. Highly recommend it. He did film breakdowns for every game, and ours, one of the things he took away for the defense, and I completely agree with, is that this defense is no joke. It's going to be a good defense. And he, that's something he even took away out of it. If you go back and watch the game, that's something I take away from it. I think the defense is going to be, just wait, Jack Pack. I really do believe in the next coming days it's going to be better, for sure. Especially since B-Flow is going to have tape on some of the other offenses that we're going to watch. I think you're going to see significant improvement in that area. This next question comes from Mark. He says, does Tua need to start? Would you blame the offense for the draft or lack of weapons or receivers that can't get open? Again, I disagree there. I disagree with you, Mark. I don't think it had anything to do with the weapons. I think it was it had a lot to do with the philosophy of the game. And I think, like I said, being super conservative, trying to establish the run, and not spreading them out is a mistake. Most of the snaps, especially on first and second down in that first half, there was only 2 receivers on the field. We need to be at least a 3 to 4 wide receiver set team. And when I say 4, I mean like have Isaiah Ford and Mike Gesicki. That's basically 2 more receivers. And then you have Preston and Devontae. I think that's the sort of thing we need to do. And have the running back run some stuff out of the backfield. And again, we ran the ball better out of the shotgun. So I think we need to be that type of a team. I think it had a lot to do with philosophy, not necessarily personnel. This next question comes to Jerry. He says, we're missing Raekwon, huh? I think even if Raekwon played in this game, it would have been similar results. I think it had a lot to do with just not a whole lot. And maybe I'm wrong. But like I said, I'm confident in what I saw from this defense. I think it had a lot more to do with New England than the personnel of the Dolphins. This next question comes from Mark. He says, a lot to clean up, but what position groups do you think did well? I thought the offensive line looked really good. I thought the linebackers looked really good. I thought the secondary had its moments when it had the shot. I like the defensive line. I think some of the things that we saw from the defensive line, especially the interior, I really, really, really liked as well. This next question comes from Sam. He says, I think the O-line looked great. If Fitz would have been aware of how clean of a pocket he had all game, I think the interceptions never would have happened, and we win this game. What are your thoughts? I agree with that. I think the interceptions definitely hurt, especially the first and last one. What else he said? Yes, the offensive line looked really great. And he even said after the game in his press conference that the offensive line was amazing, and he has to do a better job because he was, like he said after the game, he said he was barely touched. Fitz said that, and he wasn't. I mean, he had a very clean pocket for like 99. We didn't even let up a sack, and it was a coverage sack, by the way, that we let up, and I think in the fourth quarter, which is like something that team has not done in Gillette Stadium, maybe ever, because anytime we've gone up there in the Tom Brady Belichick era, it's really a massacre up front, especially in the passing game. If you remember any of the Tannehill games in Gillette, it was terrible. The pass pro. This next question comes from SM. He says, "Why was the D in so much zone coverage?" So that had a lot to do with the run game. They wanted to keep all eyes, because when you play zone, mainly everybody's eyes are on the quarterback. And you don't have to follow people out. Like when they tried to lighten the box and they were motioning people out, you don't have to do that in zone. So it had a lot to do with just the run defense. I think they thought it was going to be a better matchup for the team. And when we played zone, they took advantage of that with the pass game and some of their play action stuff. And especially when we played zone, they did a lot of their screen passes, or running backs and swing passes. It just was a good game by New England. They did a good job of taking advantage of some of the looks that we gave them. This next question comes from Sammy. He says, after Fitzpatrick's performance, the talks for Tua starting are getting louder. People really think that if Tua started, we would have won this game, on top of having a super short camp to learn the system. The rookies who started on the O-line and the hip injury, I think Tua would have done worse. Do you really think Belichick would have changed his defense the instant Tua got in the game? I don't buy that Tua would have come in. And won the game for us. Not this early in his career and this early in change system. Your thoughts? That's a tough question to answer. I don't think we would have won the game with Tua if we called the game the same way. That's for sure. I think we could have probably moved the pocket a little bit more, got him on the edges. Maybe he scrambles and gets a couple more first downs. Really, we only needed one or two more plays. I think it had more to do with the philosophy of the game. I just thought we should have been more aggressive. So, no, I do agree with you. I don't think if Tua was in that same situation that Fitz was, I don't think we won the game either. I think we should have been more aggressive. This next question comes from MC. He says, did it look like the play calling on offense against the Patriots was a little simple and predictive? I don't think it was simple and predictive. I think it was just very, very conservative. This next question comes from M. Black. He says, Gags, what is your opinion on the Miami run defense after Game 1? Was it a lack of preparation and expedition games for the breakdowns, or the personnel just isn't good enough to get to stop the run on a consistent basis? I think it was to do with the scheme, and it was a new scheme, and we just didn't have enough tape on it. Now that we do, and this is something New England fans are going to have to worry about. Now the whole entire league has tape on that. I just don't know how they're going to consistently move the ball in New England. If we could and it's not hard to figure that stuff out anymore because so many teams have ran quarterback heavy run schemes like the 49ers did with Kaepernick and the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson, and Tim Tebow, Tyrod Taylor in the past, which Romeo had in Buffalo. So I think a lot of teams are getting better at guarding some of that stuff. So now that they have tape, and some of the stuff that New England was doing with Cam in the running game, nobody else does. So now that they have tape on it, I don't know how New England moves the ball on a consistent basis. Because like I said, in a 2-minute drill, they're going to be awful. Where did we start here? Okay, so this next question comes from SM. He says, the team played tight from the jump. Why were they not more loose? That had to do with the play calling, man. They just played it way too close to the vest. This next question comes to SM. He says, bottom line, we didn't get to use our high-paid corners because we couldn't stop the run. The Pats ran 42 times on the Dolphins. I've always thought we were decent in coverage, but weak against the run. But I figure Coach Flores would handle it because he played linebacker. Maybe it would have been nice to have a run-stopping thumper of a linebacker, kind of like the one that we sent to the Raiders. I disagree with that. I think it had a lot to do with the scheme. I don't think Raekwon changes that game at all. This next question comes from Sammy. He says, why in the world did we not press the entire game? There is too much money being spent in the secondary to play zone at any point. Because the run game, they were with the motions and the sweeps, they were lightening the box for Cam. So we to help stop the run, we wanted everybody to kind of look at Cam and just say, okay, he's the one running. Everything's off of him. Just pay attention to him. That's why we switched to zone to play better run defense, and keep the box heavy. And it just didn't. I mean, every time we did that, they passed the football. That's why you saw zone out there. This next question comes from Sammy. He says the defense play was so confusing. Had they simply made our top money corners press all game, like they should have, they would have Cam Newton actually pass the ball. They would have made Cam Newton actually pass the ball, even though we did lose. I think this defense is going to end up in the top 10 again. And is going to end up in the top 10 again. We had no preseason, very short camp. What are your thoughts? He says, I think, even though we did lose, I think the defense is going to end up in the top 10. Okay, so there's a period there. I don't know what, I didn't see it. And then he says, again, we had no preseason and a very short camp. Yeah, I do think the defense is going to be really good. But if you think about it, too, X only played 40% of the snaps, and we didn't even get to see Igbinoghene do what he does best, which is cover. I think it had a lot to do with just New England's scheme. I really like what I saw from the defense, and I'm excited for Sunday, for sure. Or next Sunday. This next question comes from Richard. He says, I hope next... I'm sorry, I misread your question, Sammy. I didn't see the period there. It just was weird that he said that top 10 again, like we were in the top 10. You get it. Anyway, I misread that. This question comes from Richard. He says, I hope next Sunday the Dolphins play wide receiver Matt Collins. He would give the Dolphins a big receiver to go downfield. He ran a 4.5, 40-yard dash. Did not see Ryan Fitzpatrick take many deep shots downfield. I don't know if I'd go that far, Richard. I think we'll be okay. I think we just need to be a little bit more aggressive and kind of change our identity up a little bit. Let me know what you guys thought about the defense and offense. I'm very encouraged by the defense. I think if we just tweak some things on offense, we're going to be way better than we were versus the Patriots. I'm excited about the season. I still think this team, from what I saw, has a really good shot at winning the AFC East. I think we can beat the Bills, definitely beat the Jets. So I'm excited about the future of this team. Huge game on Sunday. Huge divisional game in Miami. It should be really fun. We should have fans there, a little bit of fans. So that should be exciting too. So that is it, guys. I'm, like I said, very excited about Sunday. Very, very excited about Sunday. Huge game, like I said, divisional game. If we really are going to go after the AFC East crown, this is a game that we absolutely have to have. And I'm excited to see what this defense can do with tape on the Buffalo Bills offense. And I think hopefully we tweak the offense. Be a little bit more aggressive. Spread them out. Pass the football like we did a year ago, and just have everything come off of that, not everything come off the run game. So I'm Skyx83. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Super excited for next Sunday. Fins up. I think this team is going to be really good for the rest of the year.